Hey all, Brad here from sunny Sherwood Park, Alberta. I'm just going to share a project with you today. Lately what I've been doing is working on a travel van for sharing with myself to scoot across the country with next summer if everything opens up. So one of the things I'm working on right now is putting a black water tank in it because we want to have our own biffy in there. So here's the van now that we're working on. This is a Chevrolet Express Quigley 4x4 conversion. Had quite a few Expresses for work over the years, and they're just an awesome van. And the one shortcoming I always thought is it didn't have four-wheel drive. So I did find this one used. It's a 2017, and so it's going to be worthwhile doing a conversion on this. I think it's got about 100,000 kilometers on it, and they are rough kilometers, but hey, we're gonna start work on it. Okay, so this is the tank that I designed on CAD actually, to fit into the space on the frame rail left hand side behind the driver. I had to make some modifications to it after I designed it because of course things don't always work out the way you plan them. But this is the space I wanted to put it in. With one of the things with the Quigley conversion with the four-wheel drive, they needed to put the transfer case in here. So the VAP canister used to be mounted here. They cut it off of there and they mounted it on the outer frame rail here. So I had to relocate that. I put it up in here, which I think should be fine. It's a little close to the exhaust, but hopefully that'll be all right. And the other thing they had here is this little module here, which I'm not even sure what it's for. It was back on this side of the body mount. So I moved it up over here and just put the shield up here to hopefully stop any gravel and stuff hitting it, and opened up this space. So this is what we're gonna put the tank in right here. And I've already pre-drilled some of this will be the hole for the toilet, although it's going to be too close to the body panel to come straight down from the toilet. I'll have to put an offset in and put a shorter toilet in there. I just don't have room to move the hole far enough into the van to get a toilet mount in the right location. So that's going to happen there, and then I'll put another 1.5 inch hole through here for a sink up in the cabin. That'll come through. I haven't welded that on yet. But as I had designed it to come straight across here, I didn't have enough room for these pipes. So I ended up notching that out after the fact. And as well as I tried to make it as big as possible, and I didn't take into account this little piece of bodywork that comes out and cut into my space. And that's why I had to make a couple of modifications. So you see here that this piece here had to be all notched out. And I had to take this corner and modify that. This is built out of HDPE, high density polyethylene, which is very weldable. You can also see in here, I had put a hole in here for the outlet, and then after I mounted the tank up in here, or tried it up in here, there was interference with the front spring mount here, so that didn't work. So I welded that back up again. I just really wanted to try and keep this as up under the body as possible so that I'm not going to see it, you know, when you're looking at the side of the van. This goes up to the this flange goes up to the toilet mount, and then around the other side I will put a new outlet here in this corner. So it'll be on the bottom of the tank instead of. I kind of wanted to get away from having the handles and everything where you could see them, but there's just no way around it. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet. So that'll come down there. These are mounts for level indicators, or probes, I guess. I'm just going to make my own. I can't find one, a simple indicator that just has this one tank without having pump switches and several tanks and all kinds of things on them. So I'll just make my own, just use some LEDs and wire that up later. So this is in there for now. I'll send the wires up into the cab. And yeah, so that's it for now. Right now I'm just going to locate that hole that I had showed you here. It'll be coming through for the sink drain. And so what I'll do is I'll put the tank back up into here, locate it, and then drill down from the top just to locate that tank, and then we'll weld the fitting on and I'll show you that. Okay, here we are up in the cabin, just showing you the two holes as they are from the top. I just put the tank back in to locate the small 1.5 inch. That's the one I was showing you, the flange already on the tank for the toilet. And this is one I just drilled for the sink drain, as well as a vent. I'll put a cheater vent up in the cabinet, and also probably a bypass so we can just run the sink out into the ground depending where we're parked. Okay, so that's it for up top. Okay, this is just showing the tank sitting in place temporarily while I drilled the holes. You can see I got some clearance issues, which is why I had to cut this corner off. Okay, we'll get welding. Okay, we're back. Got the hole drilled. Turn on the heat gun. First thing we're going to need is this little guy here. This is tacking tip. Basically go all around and tack the piece in place. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll heat that up. That heat. In the meantime, really important with this plastic is to prep the face of this. It's got this shine to it, and the rod does not like to stick to that, so really important. Buff that off as well. I'm going to do the same on the side of here. These are spin weld fittings. I'm not sure if you've heard of spin welding, but you might want to check it out, Google that. It's really kind of cool, but I don't have the fittings to do that. Essentially with that, you put it on a high speed, like a router, and spin it, and the heat builds up and it just welds it right in place. But I don't have that, so here I am doing it this way. Now I want to center this. The only hole saw I have is a little bit oversized from what I should have. So I'm just going to mark, try and get the center of this here. Alright, a little bit. Definitely that hole is too big for this, but it'll work. This is the tacking. Look around. For a bit. Get this tip off. And we'll put on what's called the speed welding tip. That's basically, they call it speed welding just because you can feed your filler rod in through here at the same time as the heat is coming out through the bottom here and heating up your material. So it makes it very, kind of quick, so then you can just zoom right along. So you can see that's already locked in place there. I'm using 3mm 1/8" rod for this. Again, this material is polyethylene. It's a bit tricky doing a circle, so I have to kind of start out of position. Heat the tip up a little bit, as well as the material. Push the rod through, and as you're doing that, it actually feeds the tip along the weld. It's pretty slick. First one is the most important. It's going to do most of the work. I usually let that cool just a little bit. Let the materials kind of melt together. Bond it. James Bond. And then I'm going to put a couple more runs around here. Sort of wire here. See a filler rod, plastic wire. That's okay. Just mix it around once. Another piece of filler. Building up onto the flange itself. It's a little bit different polyethylene. I think it's a little softer. Be careful, it melts pretty easy. just go off with a weld here a little bit. Get everything blending in, and I pull the rod out. Other guys will pull this back and pull the rod out, and that works too, but then you have to cut it off with a piece, and this makes it a little nicer finish, I think. So there, that's all I'm going to do to that. That should hold water. And that's it for that part. Okay, now we're going to the relocated drain on here. I'm just going to move it to this bottom corner. I'm going to grab that flange first. Our flange here, I actually cut this one off of the other location. I'm going to reuse it, hopefully. I'd like to put something in here just to hold it round. Find the start. That's it. Feels like that's it. Okay, once again, we're going to do a little prep. About that. Compressors I have to keep up too. Alright. So same thing with the other one, we're going to center this in the hole. and then tack it in place. Let's let this heat up a little more. So again, this is a spin weld fitting. Check that out on Google. You'll probably be pretty impressed. Neat process. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Weld to fit it. I like to go all the way around if I can. Some is good, more is better. Now, finish this fitting out again. You will chain their heat, so I want to be careful. Well, that heats up like another piece of filler rod. Okay, you can see that's already firm there. Over here for you guys so you can see maybe a little better when I'm doing it. Just let that tip come out a bit, warm up. Warm up the material at the same time. Definitely shouldn't have your cord wrapped around there like that. Yeah. Alright, so I'm not worried about that leaking. That should work great. Maintained its shape, so everything's good. Okay, so we're going to put some, get some Nyko, some of this good stuff here on the tank, just to keep it a little bit of extra insulation and help it stay warm when it's cold out. There will be a tank heater on it as well. Actually, I should put that on first, shouldn't I? So, I'm going to put a tank heater on this. Travel, typical snowbirds heading down south in the winter time. Sometimes we go through some pretty cold areas where we don't necessarily stay in the van, but we're in the past in our RV. But it is parked outside, of course, while we in the hotel, so everyone freezes up. That's not good. So I'm going to put this tank heater on here. That should be pretty good. I just noticed this, I guess it's insulation or backing that they have on the heater itself is very similar to this foam I'm putting here, so I'm thinking it's going to help put a little extra layer of that on there. So here goes. To see where those supports go across. So I'm hitting it right there. Measure that. Better late than never. 8 inches. The support brackets are about 8 inches, so I think I'm just going to miss that. That's good. Okay. Living with the luck. Okay. Right. Through the floor into the van, switch in there, mirror that along with these other wires coming from the sending units at the probes for the level indicator. They're just actually brass bolts. I tried to find copper ones, but I couldn't, so brass I figured is the next best thing. It won't corrode and good conductor of electricity. So I've never been a tank level indicator before. I'm not an electronics wizard, but I'm going to give it a shot. So that's going to go in there like that. Then the foam insulation. So piece here. Go over those screws. Tying in with the other wires. There, let's put this piece up. I have water tested the tank, so I was pretty confident. I have done some welding after that. I did put this patch piece in, put these probes in. This outlet and one other, so chances are it could leak, but I'm gonna go for it. Now, all this sticks to the irregular surface that I've got here. Save those other pieces just in case. They'll fit somewhere else. Top. Pieces left over. Some of this might have to come off because I fit this thing so tight in there. I might not have room for the extra. Yeah, about 5/16 in there. I'm going to stop the video there. See what I'm going to do. I'll finish this all up and then we'll get back to the install. Okay folks, got all the Noico sound deadening material on, which I'm actually using as insulation. Whether or not that's the proper purpose, that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to help a little bit. I got the sensors in, wired up, brought all the wires up to the front here with along with the tank heater wires. Those will go up into the cab. And yeah, so we're just about ready to put it in. I did try test fit it, and it did fit up into the brackets, which kind of surprised me. I did have to cut out some of the foam area where I have the blocks for the top where it rests against, and the same in the bottom, so I can get the supports in. Supports are down here, just that little paint. I've been using this Rust-Oleum, what do you call it? Truck bed, textured truck bed, and it works great. Works better than paint, I find. It dries really quick, and it's got some thickness to it, so I like it. Anyway, okay, we're off to install. Okay, well, it did fit in there. It was a little snug, which is actually great, no problems. This thing is just going to be supported by a couple of straps. I guess I didn't show those earlier. They go vertically up into a U shape that is mounted to the cross member up top, holding the body. And then I'm just going to put some cross pieces across there, some 1-inch square with some nuts welded inside that I can bolt to. So that's why I had to cut a little bit of the body away here, and to get access to the bolt to tighten that up. I also had to notch the foam out of here just to give it some clearance. Still going to be pretty tight, but that's okay. Tight is good. And yeah, everything fit in there okay. So I'm going to just put these bottom pieces on, and we'll be back. Okay folks, there it is. Now it's installed. These are the pieces that I've put in across here. They primarily support the vertical edges, and then the bottom of the tank is rabbeted into those vertical edges, so that's pretty good strength that way. And yeah, of course the wires routed up there, that's for the tank probes and the tank heater. And I'll pick that up on the top. Yeah, that'll be the outlet for the tank valve. It'll be a blade valve like this. That'll go on there. I need to get the proper flange. It'll have the pipe thread, so that'll mount in there something like that. It will be below the edge of the van. I'm gonna have to disguise that a little bit somehow. I don't like stuff hanging down from the bottom of a vehicle. So anyway, that's the gist of it. I'll show you up inside here in a minute. I'll just let this down off the hoist. Okay folks, so that wraps up the tank install from the outside anyway. As you can see, well, as you can not see it, it's hidden pretty well. When I get down here, I guess I can probably, not too much of it visible. The valve will definitely be hanging out, which I'm not happy about, but somewhere you got to hook up your hoses to, right? Yeah, speaking of hoses, so I'll show you inside. The hose will store inside the bumper here. I built this bumper, and this piece will come out, and there's a full tube inside the bumper there that I can store the sewer hose in there. So I don't want to be dealing with that inside the van. I'll show you around how that turned out on the inside. I haven't started much inside here yet. So yeah, there's the two holes. As I mentioned, the toilet hole is not going to be far enough away from the wall to mount the toilet directly to it, but I'll have to put an offset or build the toilet up on a base, one of the others. This area here is where I put all the electrical panels, controls, that sort of thing. So we've got some wires coming through here. These ones here just come through the front. Most of those are just Wires that really don't go to anywhere right now. I just thought I'd better put them in now before I put all the carpet and seats and everything in. Then I had to pull everything out to put them in later. So that's goes to the front. This is a battery from the alternator, from the truck battery. And yeah, so most of the electrics are actually going to go in the back, in the trunk. Put a trunk in here. You can see the wires are pulled through there. The batteries will go in the back, and then it's recessed in the front here for the inverter. And then they come through here, and then I'll route them through the wall up to the control area. So that's my plan anyway. Of course, it may change as I get into it, but right now I'm just kind of working on the infrastructure items. Yeah, got the tanks underneath, the trunk in the back, the swivel seats done. Seats I had to build a swivel for. You can see up in there, not very well. We'll maybe talk about that later. Anyway, so it's coming together. Thanks for coming. Bye now.